Okay, let's go.
Hi, Aya.
Hello.
Welcome back. It's almost like we've been here before.
I know, deja vu, right?
Everyone's going
But
to be
the
like, they've
turns have
got.
tabled.
Yes,
Mm.
I am in the hot seat this time. Ugh. How are you, anyway?
I am good. I am glitter crashing from Hull, but we move. How are
Yes.
you?
I am tired. I was at sea in Chapel Roan last night in Edinburgh,
Oh my
so
God, amazing.
oh, she's so good, so good. Then I had to like do work today, and I'm like, ugh.
Oh no. Did I see was Jade Thirlwall opening for her, or was that a different gig?
Yeah, yeah, it was.
How was she?
She was good. She was really good,
Yeah,
actually. Did like a little mix, mega mix thing.
nice.
Sang some of her own songs. Chapel also had like local drag queens
Oh,
performing
cool.
like before Jade as well. So that was really
Nice.
cool. And I know it's on again tonight and it's different drag queens, so
Oh, that's
that's kind of
cool.
cool.
Yeah. I really like Jade's solo stuff. I actually kind of want to get a ticket for her when she comes to London.
She
Got
was
the
good. I
tickets
enjoyed
alert
her.
on.
She can sing.
Yes.
Like she has pipes.
She definitely has pipes.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah, I have to kind of like hand over the metaphorical mic to you. Yeah.
Yeah, we are interviewing Dinah Dare today. I did have brief moments where I was like, I'm gonna learn the intro and be like, hi, welcome to Behind the Rhinestones. And then I just end up impersonating you. So I won't do that.
No, no, I kind of want to see. I'm like, no, do it.
I'll record one for you and I'll send it.
Yes, I would love that.
So, yeah, we are interviewing you today. We are finding out all about our hostess with the mostest. So we'll kick right off with the start. How did you get into burlesque? What's your origin story?
Ah, my villain origin story. Um,
Your words, not mine.
a few people have heard this before, but like, 2017, I think. Yeah. Basically, my partner's now sister-in-law was going to like. There's a reason this goes back so far. I was going to like a circus fitness class. It's Area Edge in Glasgow. It's not. It's moved now. And
Mm,
she posted and I was like, oh, can I come? Started going, did my usual, got absolutely hooked. Did circus for basically until it closed in 2020 because of the COVID. But in that time, my kind of intermediate advanced trapeze instructor was married to a burlesque performer. And then she opened a school in Glasgow, and one of the girls that I did classes with was performing at like the first student showcase essentially.
mhm,
And I was like, oh, I'll go, like support my pal. And it just looked like so much fun. And then I think like the Monday after, it was like a bring your friend for free to class. So
mhm.
convinced one of the other girls to go with me. And you just had the best, like just had so much fun. And then within doing the group choreo, and then 6 months later, I did like my first solo act, and then did my usual and was at every single class. Again up until that was end of 2008. No, end of 2019.
Mhm.
No, end of 2018, I was like, well, how long have I been doing this for? End of 2018, I debuted. Because I had like a year and a bit before COVID
In the
kind of
before
fucked
times.
everything. Yeah, the times that we don't talk about. Um, yeah, so that's kind of it. And like I've always liked dancing, I've always liked music, but I was like I kind of developed quite young, quite early. So I was like the tall girl with the broad hips and the broad shoulders and like had boobs. So like in dance classes, I felt awkward. Like I felt like an
Mm.
elephant with all these like tiny little petite girls. So it was never really something I thought I would do. And then, it's like burlesque is a style that it doesn't matter. And it feels, I don't know,
Yeah,
it felt comfortable in my body, like that kind of bumps and grinds.
that's cool. So yeah, you kind of came from it from sort of a associated skill. Associated skill isn't the right word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more like from
From
the
like the
circus
circus side. Yeah.
cabaret. Yeah, that kind of
Do you
trajectory.
do you think you'll bring more of that back into your acts? Do you do much of that at the moment?
I don't do it anymore. I do more pole now,
Mm,
purely because where Area Ledge eventually moved to is difficult for me to get to,
sure.
like where the new studio is, and there is other studios in Glasgow that teach, but I've kind of been in none of them are really like my vibe.
Hmm.
So I very much do pole. I'm also a bit better at taking rest and not being out at classes every night, which I
How do
was
you
really
do that? Teach me.
therapy, a lot of therapy. Um,
Balance. We don't know her.
yeah, I'm trying to learn her, so I'm a bit better at not being out every night, and I also do like I just do like dance classes and stuff in Glasgow as well, so
Sure.
that's kind of more what I do. I do miss it. I also used to do like fire eating
Hmm.
as well. Again, kind of through circus that I learned that. I've still got all the stuff, but I haven't done it in so long because there's like no venues in Glasgow that really let you
Fair.
do it inside. So,
We have the same issue in London.
so
Very
I don't like.
limited.
I don't even have my insurance for it anymore because it just doesn't make sense.
Fair.
Because again, people have been like, "Oh, what about fire tassels?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no one lets you do it though."
Yeah.
So it just doesn't really seem worth the upkeep. Um,
And the injuries.
yeah, the training time and the insurance. Like I haven't done it in maybe 2 years now, so I think if I had to try and eat fire, I'd be starting from scratch because I'd be like, "Oh Christ, I need to put this near my face." And that's
That's
just
fair.
me.
And I don't know about you, but for me, I've got some friends that kind of got into burlesque the same time as me and kind of did a few acts and then started wanting to look at other skills. So wanting to add more circus or drag or, clowning or whatever. Not necessarily just like skills that feed into burlesque, but, trying other styles of performance. For me, and maybe this is just an obsessive personality, I find that there's so much to learn and to develop and to play with, even just in burlesque itself, that I've kind of never felt the need to stray from it. People have asked me, will you add aerial to your performances? And I'm like, one, I'm not good enough. Two, like, I'm kind of just really, really into just burlesque as its own thing. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Like I think that's why I talk about like I do dance classes and stuff. Like I'm always kind of working on my skills towards that. I do a lot
Hmm.
of classes like at home. Like at the moment I'm doing I don't know if you saw not long after Beehoff, Peril Noir and Poison Ivory were basically offering like an act development course. It's just like two classes on Zoom.
Hmm.
I'm doing that at the moment. So the first one was
Cool.
Saturday, the next one's this Saturday. Um so I'm kind of learning there. I learn online. Like we've talked about before, like Ginger's classes, and Maison online.
Yeah.
Go to dance classes. I also go to the gym. I also have a day job. I also try and see my friends. And pole is purely a hobby. Like I will never perform pole. I've been very specific about that because I'm like,
Hmm.
I have a tendency of turning everything into a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's not that be a thing. But yeah, I'm kind of the same as you. Like, there's so much, and I've been doing this for 6.5, coming up 7 years, and like this year, I've learned so much already. So like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
still always learning things, and I feel like there's not really a point that you top out. But again,
Yeah.
that might be the obsessive thing. I'm a bit like you. Like when I went to burlesque, I was like, there was two classes a week, and I was at both of them for an hour and a half each, and I was signing up to every single course and every like
Hmm.
it was constant. And then when I'm not in there, I was practicing at home and all this kind of stuff. So like I do kind of get that way as well. But the
Yeah, I
fact that
have a new
that's
thing. I must find out everything about it.
yeah, and then I'll find different bits. Like
Mm,
I'll hear something about history and then I'll go and read about that, which will lead me on to someone else and then something else. So like I'm always learning new bits about history and then connected a lot with Americans. So I've had a chance to like there's more there than I've known about as well, because we obviously only hear
mm,
about the bigger performers, but like if people follow Bella Sin, she talks a lot about like Indigenous and Mexican and Latino performers who I we don't have as much exposure to, particularly in the
agree.
history. So like I feel like there's always something new.
Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah. It's
And
just this
it's
huge
like an
world.
onion. You just keep picking these layers, and there's more, and then there's more, and then there's more. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, you've obviously got stuff like the costuming and, how, facial expression, some people come from like acting backgrounds and clowning, and then there's different, yeah, props even that we use and where that's come from and how you use that. There's so much that you can deep dive on.
So much. And like that's taken, and again, you're talking about so many different skills, and that's not even looking at like the business side of what we do.
That's
Let's
just the performance.
that's the physical performing. That's not, do you have a website? What's your branding like?
Hmm.
Like social media. Like anyone that's followed me on will have probably worked out that social media and branding has been a big focus for me this year. Um, you can probably tell because I feel like my quality of posts and what I've posted pivoted at some point.
Mm.
Totally redone my website. Like I've got merch. You then have to think about your invoicing, your taxes, applying to shows, responding to shows,
Being
working out your
rejected
traffic,
from shows.
being being rejected for so many shows. Uh, like there's what we do is, as you said, like there's so much, and you are constantly
Mm,
learning that part as well. Like how can I do my business part better as well?
yeah. I feel
Um,
like you've definitely like focused and stepped up your social media stuff this year as someone who's fucking awful at social media. I've been watching you like, wow,
oh, I
that's
hate
really
it
good.
so much. I hate it, but I was like, I'm gonna do it. I think I said to you before, like I was lucky enough, you and me were both lucky enough to win various things from Ginger Lee Valentine at
Hmm.
the start of this year. And mine was a coaching call, and it was meant to be setting goals. And then when we started
Hmm.
chatting and I said like my day job's a project manager, she was like, "You don't need my help planning, do you?" And I was like, "Not really." So I basically said, "How can I take the success I had last year and build on it?" And she was like,
Hmm.
"Social media."
Yeah.
So, and she's right. And that's where,
I mean, she's a great example, right?
hmm aha, she's a fantastic example. So this year
Yeah.
it's been obviously the birth of the YouTube channel, really focusing on social media. I know Lindsay did a chat at, Roland
Mm.
Lindsay did a chat at Highway Hull. I've, like,
It was very, very good.
yeah, so I bought what she did because I knew I missed it.
Yeah.
But I've bought other small things from her, and I'm in her client group on Facebook where she shares things
Nice.
as well. So like implementing all of that. Also
Mm.
just doing like my own research on what I need to do. And it's a lot of work, but I was like,
Yeah.
well, this is I really want to get to 10K. I was saying this to my friend last night in the car. I was like, I'm gonna get to 10K and then I'm just gonna throw my phone in the bin.
That sounds healthy.
I've
That would
set
help
myself a goal.
with
I'm
that.
like, I want to hit 10K and I'm just
Yeah.
never gonna look at it ever again.
I
Like
feel
done.
like with what little I know about the algorithm as well, once you hit certain milestones like that, like it will keep itself rolling to a certain extent because you're already exposed to a larger audience than the vast majority of people that are on there.
It does
That
kind of
just,
does the work for you.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And like I kind of hate it, but it is such an important tool now for us as performers. I think, during like the late 90s, early 2000s, revival of burlesque wasn't a thing. But
And I do
also, I
think
can't imagine if it was like harder to get seen, but also easier at the same time.
I think it must have been harder. Well, I don't know. I have heard there was like email groups, like Outlook
Mm,
groups and stuff like that existed, which is kind of cute.
MSN
Um,
Messenger.
yeah. I know there was like the Ministry of Burlesque was a
Mm,
thing.
yeah,
But yeah, well, obviously in the UK, but yeah, it's such a massive part of what we have to do now, and it's not necessarily having the followers will equal getting more bookings. I'm not saying that,
no.
but it raises your profile,
Helps you get
and
seen.
yeah, and that's what it's more about. It's about raising your profile in terms of this is what I do, this is what I can bring, but also, and you do this with your tips and tricks, there's an element of trying to grow the
Hmm.
industry. It's not just
Yep.
necessarily about me, which is why I talk a lot about money, right? And it's
Hmm.
because I'm kind of like, here's what I think can help people.
Yep. I think that's
So,
important as well, isn't it? And it's like being genuine and true to yourself as well. Because, like, ultimately, my burlesque page is for me as a performer to show what I can do, to get bookings, and hopefully to educate and raise standards. It's not for me to be like, I'm an influencer. Here's me doing influencer stuff, because there's a certain type of posting that I see that just you just slap a burlesque theme on it, but it's the same as all the kind of generic and influencer posting, and I'm like, I'm very scared of falling down that trap.
Yep. I think that's what's good about Lindsay's stuff. I feel like I'm pure
Mm.
promoting her. She's going to be like, "Are you?" I'm like, "She is not sponsoring this. I promise."
Hashtag not spawn.
Yeah. Hashtag not sponsored. Um, she talks a lot about like being genuine and doing what works for you,
Mm.
and a lot of what I found, I've just kind of fallen into it. Like, the first time I posted the stuff about like this is how much it costs to go to a festival, I was like, "Oh, this could kick me in the teeth so fucking hard." I was like, "This could backlash on me," and I was aware of that. I was like, the festival could get pissed at me. People could get
Yeah.
annoyed at me for like flaunting that I've got the money to do it. I was like, this could go terribly, but let's just try it and see. Um, and I think that's a lot of it. You kind of have to be scared to not. You just have to try something, and if it fails, that's okay. And I think the same goes for
Yeah.
stage as well. Sometimes you
Oh
have to
yeah,
try
completely.
something, and if it's shit, it's fine.
Isn't it David Bowie that said, like, once you're just getting to like beyond where you're comfortable, you're about to do something really exciting. And if you're
Hmm.
staying where you're safe and comfortable, that's where artists do their worst work. I'm
Yeah,
paraphrasing, can't remember the exact quote, but it's along
you
them
can't.
lines.
Yeah, I think I come from my day job is in tech,
Mm.
and we have a kind of theory of fail fast.
Yeah.
You try something, and if it fails, then you learn from it.
Hmm.
So you just have to decide what you're willing to fail. Because I was like, this could go badly and totally screw up my name for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna do it because I think it came from a place of wanting to help rather than from a place of being like, oh look how much money I have. Because
Do you
that
think
makes me
social
uncomfortable.
media makes that even more scary? That thing of like, I have to be so careful what I post, what I say, what I comment, even the views that I share, the views that I don't share.
100%. You could say the smallest thing and it gets absolutely thrown at you.
Hmm.
You like there's conversations I've participated in that I'm like, it's when I'm having what I call one of my ballsy moments when I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna write this. This is my opinion. And then I always come across it from the perspective of this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I am aware that people can get very, this is my opinion and it's right and your opinion is wrong. And
Hmm.
that's a really difficult thing to, and there's certain, obviously, if you're, you know, racist, transphobic, all that kind of stuff, you're wrong.
Yeah. There's
That's
some
not an
stuff that's
opinion.
just not acceptable.
It's not an opinion. But
No.
like, I remember there was conversations going around about like long form acts. And some
Yeah,
people
I
were,
remember that.
yeah, because I think we ended up texting about it because folk were like,
Yeah.
oh, I struggle to tell a story in 4 minutes. And I was like, well, my argument to that is maybe you need to work on your storytelling skills within
Yeah.
those four
Editing.
minutes. You need to edit your act. Um, but I can also, if you've got a desire to make a longer act, that's different from just being able to say, I cannot tell a story in 4 minutes.
Hmm.
And I think I wrote that, and again, it was well enough received. I think enough people understand
Got
that I
it.
come from these things with a perspective like of caring and understanding, and I'm not being a judgmental bitch. I'm just kind of like, have you thought about like this is my opinion? Have you thought about
Yeah.
this? Um, because I do think, unfortunately, just in general, burlesque can be whoever the big person's opinion is the person is the opinion that we all follow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're
Definitely
very
that.
easily influenced as a community, which I think's hilarious for a community that strives on creativity and being different.
Yes. That is a very good point. Yeah, there's definitely
Um,
been stuff where I've seen like a very strong opinion being voiced, and kind of immediately, because of whoever has posted it, gone, oh yeah, okay. Wow, I hadn't even thought of it that way, but that totally makes sense. But then all these other opinions come in, and you kind of go, oh, actually, maybe that person that said that first thing is shouldn't be saying it with the authority that they're saying it, because actually enough people disagree and there's enough other perspectives, or their perspective is straight up problematic, but because it's been said from someone that I perceive to have a lot of authority and a lot of influence,
Yeah.
you kind of think, oh, is that what we should be thinking?
100%. I honestly think, I know you know like Jezebel Thunder a little bit, and I think
Mhm.
and if I was listening to one of the various interviews she's done recently. I think it was with Victor Devon on We Burlesque. Great podcast, by the way. For anyone that's watching this, go and support Victor. Lovely human. But she was kind of saying there is a weight to winning something like that to be held up as you are queen, because these days it's not just about you've won the title, you are the best of burlesque. It's you represent burlesque. What are you going to choose
Hmm.
to do that? Like we all know Samson spoke up a lot when he had it.
Yep.
I know Honeybee did a lot in their community in Chicago, but I do think I don't know if it's been since COVID, there's been more of like a social awakening. There's more of an expectation if you have a position of power and authority that we listen to. I don't know if it's because we
Mm.
spend more time on the internet, but we are
Maybe.
much more easily influenced and listen to that person, but therefore that
Yeah.
carries a lot of weight, and I'm not sure she seems very cognizant of the fact that that's a thing.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case. And I feel like Ginger's very aware that her opinion carries a lot of weight as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird one. I think you just still need to look at everything critically. But I do think it's hilarious. And also, like, what ties into that is I told you I was doing this course with Peril, and this is why I can't be interviewed, by the way. I just yap. Um, with Peril and Poison Ivory, and they were
Yeah.
saying part of what the obviously not going to give away their details, but part of what they were talking about was fan work, and basically the summary of it was find your own style.
Hmm.
There is such a focus on doing particular fan work or being a particular way. Like, look, our number one most influential person just does a beautiful fan work,
Hmm.
but we all don't need to do fan work the same way as them.
Yeah.
But I think we all want to, so we're all kind of starting to copy each other a
Yeah.
lot.
And
Again, we're
arguably
very,
shouldn't. Like,
yeah. And I think that's what I mean about how we're so easily influenced. We see someone doing something like, how many is it? One person get, and I'm guilty for this. One person buys a Silk Electric weighted fan, and fucking
hmm.
everybody's got one. Like,
Hmm. I
we're,
remember Pandora getting the Fishbone fans just before they got super popular. She's like, "Oh, I've got this new prop," and we were all like, "What is that? That's cool." She launched her act, and literally within a couple of weeks. I'm not saying everybody copied Pandora, but she was the first one that I saw anywhere
yeah,
using them, and now Fishbone fans up the wazoo.
yep. It's meant we're so funny. Like we jump on like hype trains all the
Mm.
time. For again, for an industry who thrives on creativity, we are really bad at following trends. I
Everyone
just think,
cowgirls.
oh yeah, that's a big thing this year, isn't it?
It's huge.
Cowgirls is,
What is it? Taylor Swift? Is it Beyonce? I'm not a pop girly. I
I
don't follow
don't
these things. Where does it come
know.
from? I get it in the States because like country music's a big thing all the time. And like Western stuff. Like that's just part of the culture in certain parts of the States.
I want to blame Betty, good old Betty Bombshell and her tiny
It's
hat.
probably Betty's fault.
We love you.
We love you,
Um,
Betty.
let's blame Betty. Um, yeah, I don't. The cowboy hats is very much a concert. Like there was everyone wearing them, like Chapel Roan,
Mm,
obviously, like Midwest. But Midwest Princess. But yeah, I don't know where it's come from. It used to only be there was like Americans had cowgirl acts, and now
yeah,
everyone's got one.
it's very much here.
Yeah.
I mean, even
There's
like
more
in London,
themed
we've got
nights.
there is, yeah. Like I was gonna say, we've got in London the Athena Beauvoir runs the Rodeo Queens,
Hmm.
which is a brunch, which is all Western themed.
Yep.
And there's so many performers doing it because everybody's got
Everyone's got a
Western themed
cowgirl
acts.
act.
Yeah.
We've got Luna Licious is definitely a cowgirl act because I've seen it recently. think Baby at Heart has one,
Hmm.
but that's it at the moment. There's not as many up here, but
Sure, it's
I would be,
coming.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised creeping towards us.
I heard Beyonce is teasing a rock album. So maybe my time will come if burlesque follows what Beyonce does.
I mean, that would be nice. I
That
mean,
would be
let's be
nice, wouldn't
honest,
it? That'd suit me.
the life of a showgirl Taylor album isn't going to do anything for us.
No, I don't think so. I think it's nice to think that it will, but I think ultimately it's going to feed back into that skinny, tall, white showgirl aesthetic. And, I've already seen people are like, oh, you've got to get in for those castings and like, make sure that we get the work. They won't because the castings are, we want professional dancers that fit this mold to dress up like showgirls.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I think some people like Jolie Papillon and some others have been quite vocal about the differences between showgirls and burlesque artists because there are crossovers, but they're definitely not the same thing.
Hmm.
And I think what
Yeah.
these people are looking for is not largely what we do, with a few exceptions who do that particular style.
And or people who are showgirls.
Yeah.
I met Glitter Ginger in Vegas a few years ago, still follow her. She's a legit Vegas showgirl. Like she was in Jubilee when Jubilee still
Wow.
ran. Um, I've been in her house. She's still got some of like the old big hats and everything. The costumes are insane.
Amazing.
Also, she puts up little showgirl hacks, which are super great as well. And she still does a lot of that in Vegas. She's also a burlesque performer. So one of the album covers of that Taylor posted in a costume
Mm-hmm.
is a Vegas showgirl costume that she's
Oh
borrowed.
wow.
Um, and Glitter Ginger posted a picture of her wearing the same costume from when she used to
That's
perform it.
kind of cool. That's kind of
That's
badass.
that's fucking cool. But again, that's what this is.
Hmm.
It's it's that old Vegas style showgirl. I
Yeah.
think it'll work for our aesthetic, but I don't think it'll necessarily get it. But again, very specific aesthetic that you and me don't really fit.
No, nah. Too short,
Um,
too stocky,
covered in tattoos.
covered in tattoos, colored hair. We stick out too much.
We do. It would be nice, but I think it's just gonna. Yeah, I can't really see it doing anything for us, to be honest.
No, I think there is the potential, obviously, to kind of use it as a segue to get people in, but I think that takes some very clever and probably expensive marketing.
Yes, simple things you can do that I did. Make sure Showgirl is a tag on your
Mm,
website so that when people
hmm.
Google, they can find it and advertise that you do showgirling services.
Hmm.
And use the hashtag on Instagram.
Top tips.
Hmm.
Everybody go do. While it's not shadow ban, this is the only time we have.
But it works if you're like, if you, I don't know who you've got your website with, but my website does have like SEO stuff on it. And so
Mm,
you can put certain words. So I was like, showgirl, Glasgow showgirl, showgirling and got like all the kind of variations. So if
nice.
someone Googles for wanting a showgirl in Glasgow or Scotland or whatever,
You'll come
I
up.
hopefully should come up.
I'm going to test
Um,
that.
so I would advise that also.
Or like, we've gone from interview to top tips, so I'm gonna we've gone off down a little tangent, so I'm gonna rein it back in. I'm gonna rein it
Cool.
back in. Um, would you believe I used to chair public speaking interview type things?
Oh, man,
Terrible.
I didn't know that when I asked you to do this. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I was a little nerd. I was not the main speaker because we would have been there all night, but
That's the problem with getting you to do this. I was like, we're just gonna chat.
we're just gonna yap. We're just gonna yap. This is gonna be like a three-part interview. I feel like this is a good segue because we've talked a lot about learning and about the different skills and the different facets. What has been your biggest learning curve as a performer?
Kind of spoke about this in a recent interview with Arlene Caffrey, if anyone's watched that one, where we talked about that kind of Dunning-Kruger effect, where you think you know everything and then you get to that point where you're like, fuck, I know nothing. Nah, I know absolutely nothing. Um, I would say recently it's been about properly connecting with the emotion of the character that I'm doing on stage.
Mm.
Um, I feel like that has started to elevate my acts a lot more. I'm getting more into the characterization. Like, I think when I stopped viewing it as playing a character and more about playing the feeling or emotion, it made a massive
Mm.
change to what I was doing. Um, I'm still working on that. There's definitely a few acts that need more of that.
Hmm.
Um, and there's some acts where it's not necessarily like a huge part of it. There's some acts that are more like that than others, but I would definitely say that's been a big learning curve. I think before I was quite technical. It was like the dancing, and if I've got a prop, it's like how am I using the prop? Train with that prop. What tricks
Hmm.
am I doing? When am I doing the tricks? Um, but I've realised that if you're not necessarily and audience connection was obviously part of that, but I think at some point I stopped. I don't know if I ever did, like do that kind of connection to what I'm trying to play at that point, whether it be like
Sure.
confident and sexy or whether it be like emotional or angry or whatever. So I would say that's probably been the biggest one recently.
Hmm.
Um, in general, probably just that there's like burlesque can kind of be whatever you want it to be is one of the I think I went into it with an idea of what I should make. I should make something that sells.
Mm.
And I think I kind of let go of that a wee while ago, and that's quite nice as well.
You kind of found yourself more.
So, um,
Yeah.
I'm making stuff because I want to make it rather than because I feel like I should.
Mm.
Like, oh, I should have a fan act. I should have a slow burn.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. It's more what do I want to make? And like the act I've done recently that we did the course with, Baby Bell, haven't been so excited about an act for so long because it's truly been in my brain for like over a year.
Yeah.
And it's very me. I don't know how
It's
else
a
to
great
be.
act.
It's just very me. Um, it's a very much a part of me. So I think that's yeah, I think that would probably be the things. But again, I think there's always something to learn.
So much to learn.
Hmm.
And I think, yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head there that once you start creating for yourself, what you want to create, and not just because I need this type of act or I need this type of act. I think I kind of learned that the hard way with one of my acts, like my red act, which is actually becoming now one of my favorite acts to do and the one that I'm enjoying spending the most time with. I created that originally because I was like, I need a classic act that's very
Yep.
marketable. And then it kind of lost its way. And it was actually after I had that session with Ginger where she was like, what's the intention? And like, she's like, you've picked music that you're really into. And we need to like get that connection back. And then once I like reconnected with it and wasn't just about like, oh, what's the choreo? What's the style here? But it was more like, how does it feel? I feel like
A bit
that's
like
when
what
it,
I was talking about, connecting with
yeah,
like that the
exactly.
emotion of what it is you're trying to do instead of I know I do this step and now I do
Hmm.
that step.
Which is where a dance background can actually be a big hindrance because we think about choreo
Yeah,
and not necessarily the feeling.
yeah. It's an interesting one because sometimes having a dance background is great, but I do think there's an
Mm,
element of, yeah, you need to connect and act and understand what it is you're trying to get across. And then I
yeah.
think you can kind of become lost in it at that point, and that's kind of nice.
Hmm.
Um, the moments where it doesn't go exactly strictly according to what the choreo is, but actually in that moment it worked.
Yeah, that's where there's some magic, isn't there?
100%.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think it helps with that as well. Like personally, once you're in that place where I've got a couple of acts now, like Thunderstruck and Touch Too Much being the ones that come to my mind immediately, where I'm so in connected to them and so into like the character and the vibe. Shit goes wrong in those acts all the fucking time, but it never shakes me. It does not rattle me anymore. It
Hmm.
used to.
Yeah.
But now, because I'm really in the pocket with those acts, just about anything could happen apart from maybe getting like catastrophically stuck in a corset. There's like most things could go wrong in those acts and it actually wouldn't derail them. And I
Yeah.
think it's nice when you hit that point with an act.
And I think that's the other thing, tried to say a word there and it went, ugh. Um, I've literally just, well, a post went out because all of my posts are scheduled about how many acts is too many acts because you need to sit with an act. You need to keep doing it. You need to
Yep.
get comfortable with it. Um, I feel like Pleasantville, which is an act I've had for 4 or 5 years, is only really, that's a great act, but it's properly coming into its own this year, I feel.
Hmm.
Again, because I'm really connecting with elements of it.
Yeah.
Um, but also I've done it so many times that I can have fun.
Yeah.
And I think again, I've been bad for this, and I know you have been too. You get excited and you make new acts,
Yep.
but then you're not sitting with those old ones long enough. You're not doing them
Hmm.
enough. Um, and I know it's partly creativity because we get an idea, and it's also partly boredom because we don't want to do the same thing over again. But
Yeah.
there is something to be said for having long-lived acts. Like I'm pretty sure Honeybee Rose, that obviously won last year, that act's like 10 years old that won.
Yeah. Didn't they say that like every year they'd applied, it was with that act? It was
Hmm.
always with that act.
Hmm.
And
But that
I
act
think that's kind of
changed
cool. Yeah.
every year, which I think is really
Hmm.
cool.
So they were like showing the progress. And I'm sure,
Hmm.
yeah, in that post, it was like I was so excited to show them how it had progressed since the previous year.
Hmm.
And I think that's so cool because I literally, I applied for BHoF last year, didn't get in, kind of thought, oh, because I had my video from Stockholm and I'm like, that was a solid performance of that act. But then almost thinking like, it's not fundamentally changed. So I can't apply with it again because it's not going to be any better. But it's like it is, it's always better and you're always developing.
Yeah, because you'll do it again, you'll do it different.
Yeah.
It'll come out different. Like it'll come across different. You'll have a different day where it'll feel a different way.
Mm.
Um, Even if it hasn't fundamentally changed, something about it could still be different.
Yeah, nothing's ever finished, even though we can have a tendency to think, okay, well, that act's finished now. It is in a sense that like the bulk of the work is done and it is a, perfectly stage ready, solid act. But that doesn't mean it's stopped developing.
And it happens
It's just bubbling
organically.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it can happen organically. I'll always watch my videos back after I've performed, and sometimes I'll do something in the moment, and I'm like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna do
Hmm.
that on purpose next time.
Yep.
And then before you know it, it's changed in so many ways.
Absolutely. I'm the same. And again, this is not sponsored. Um, Ginger Valentine, where she's like, film every rehearsal, film every performance. I'm terrible for not necessarily filming every single rehearsal, but I definitely try and make sure I get a video of every performance
Yep.
and I watch them back and I analyze and I take things of like, what did I do really well that time? If something went wrong, did I recover well? Are there things like there was I think it was at Sacre last year. I was doing Touch Too Much and it was the first festival that I'd done it in and it was getting professionally filmed and it was a nice stage with good lighting. Everything was the stage was set for like this is going to be a good video. So I built it up in my head
Yep.
that it had to be a good run. And then my first bit of boa choreography, it fell off my shoulder. And I quickly flipped it back on and then it kept falling and I had a little fuffle with it, which like it's 2 or 3 seconds, you would not notice, but my face dropped. And I hate that video now. The rest of the act went absolutely brilliantly,
Hmm.
but because my face dropped, I was literally like, you gave that away, that like the frustration, like, don't do that. And at a stage in my career that I know not to do that, I still did it.
You still do it. There's times when I'll fuck up, and if my partner's in the crowd, he can tell that I fucked up because
Mm,
there's a split second sometimes. Not always. It depends how comfortable I am with the act. There's
yeah,
a split second of like panic in my eyes. And he just knows me well enough to be like,
yeah.
what happened? But yeah, um, I've done that as well. Where you're getting something recording that's a nice stage and you're like, this needs to go well.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I guess this kind of feeds into like describe your kind of creative process. I guess this kind of we're segueing in kind of the middle here, aren't we? These are acts that have already been on stage. Do you like
Mm.
to get an act to the point where it's basically done before it goes on stage? Or do you kind of feel it out on stage? What's your how do you do it?
Kind of
How do you do
done.
it?
Yeah, how do I do it? Kind of done to a point where like I have choreo that I'm happy with.
Hmm.
Um, Costume and everything's done, and then I'll take it out and see how it feels, and then I'll probably make alterations from it from there.
Sure,
Um, my blue act is probably Calypso is probably one of the biggest examples of an act that has changed dramatically from when it first went on stage to what it is nowadays.
sure.
Um, because it's just changed a lot as I've went through. There's other acts that are the same. I've just kind of as I've either gotten more confident with the costume or the music or just in general more confident in my ability, the act has kind of altered and changed and I'm maybe not as tied to the choreo as I used to be. I think when you
Mm-hmm.
can always tell when I'm doing a new act because you can watch that act in a couple of places and it's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell I'm much more comfortable with an act if you watch that act in multiple places and it's slightly different.
Sure.
Because I will have made slight alterations based on the staging, the audience, how I'm vibing with the audience, like what's going
Mm-hmm.
on. Um, Whereas like Baby Bell's my newest one, I did it at Fringe. I literally did it two shows like back to back in the same room on the same stage, just with a different audience. And my partner filmed them both. And it was actually a testament to how much work we did with Betty. I made a slight change in the second
Mm.
one because basically, as you know, it was a bit where I hand my glove to someone.
Yeah.
The same person from the last show was in this show sitting in the same fucking seat. So I was like, I can't give her my glove again. So I went this way instead.
Yeah.
But that meant I had to change a bit slightly earlier in the choreo as well because it's
Sure.
like a foreshadowing. And I was comfortable enough to do that, but that's very rare for me to do that in a new act.
Mm.
That tends to be when I'm a lot more comfortable and confident. Um,
Sure.
in terms of how I start an act, it can be a concept, it can be a piece of music, it can be a piece of costume. Um, there's so many different ways in which an act starts. I
Mm.
prefer to have music first because finding music for an idea is so much harder.
I agree. Like 90% of my acts have started with music. And when I'm asked to do it the other way around, my brain falls out my bum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it's
I just
so
live on
hard.
Spotify on like
Yeah.
every different type of playlist, looking up things, searching things. I get bored, everything starts to sound the same. I hate it.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. There's been a couple of times where I've been like, I've got an act, I've got an idea, and then someone's come along and either gone, I've either found out that someone's using the same song to something
Mm.
quite similar, or it's been working with a mentor and they've been like, this music isn't really vibing with this, and I've been like, what? I agree, but now
You're
I
like,
don't know what to do.
you're
Yeah,
like, what, I have to find
yeah,
music?
I don't
No.
do that.
I hate it so much. I have so many. I'm sure most people, I have a playlist that's just called like burlesque. And it's
Mm.
just anything I find that I think could possibly be. I'm like, I like the sound of this. I'll just fling that on
Yeah,
that playlist just in case
just
in future I
just
need something that's got that vibe.
have it in the Rolodex.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got a full costume and I've had it for about a year now and I can't find music. So I'm just leaving it because I'm like, I'm not going to force it.
Yeah,
Cannot find music for it. It's driving me insane. So I'm like, that's next year's problem.
yeah. I've done that a few times where like mostly stuff I've got secondhand,
Mm.
where I've been like, that's a bit of me. I'll have that with no plan. And then yeah, it's hard to force it. I kind of have to just wait till an idea comes.
Yep.
But I go, well, that could work with that costume that I've had sitting in a box for a year and a half.
Yeah. This was like
Trying to force it is really hard.
it's so hard. This was like a full costume upgrade, but then while I was doing
Mm,
the upgrade, I was like, I actually want to change this with the music and
sure.
everything. And I've done that with, I've got a red and black act and I changed the music and everything with that. And I thought I could do the same with this because this is like my second or third act that I ever did. And I wanted to change it. But now I've got a very particular idea in my head of like the story that I want this to be. Can't
Mm,
find music. So I'm like, my brain is clearly not in the headspace to do it right now. So I'm like, that can
yeah,
just go in the bin.
yeah. You can't force it. I feel like it's so hard. And then, yeah, when you do force it, sometimes you don't create stuff that you're proud of because it's been forced.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. You mentioned your Calypso act, which
yes.
I've seen a couple of times and I love. And I feel like it's very synonymous with you. I don't know if it's the blue or it's just that it's the one that you've toured the most.
Mm,
Um, so let's talk a wee bit about touring. Obviously you've performed in many, many exciting places across the world. Have you seen a lot of difference in like the styles or the scenes or the how things go? What kind of differences have you seen?
oh, there's you'll know this to America. We briefly spoke about it when we did
Mm.
yours. Like the differences are insane. Um, in styles and what goes down. I talked about this in my interview with Juna Bay as well. Like they said, going from state to state, you can tell there's different states that prefer
Mm.
different styles, which I thought was really interesting. That's an extremely long interview. Um, so yeah, I would definitely say like I've done 4 states in America. I've done Nelson, Canada. I've done Italy a couple of times. The Alps, France. I'm doing Poland later this year, and I'm also going back to Canada.
Nice.
Um, and technically, we've done Australia online.
Yeah, we've been there.
Goes on the bio anyway. Slight bending of the truth there, but it's
Uh,
fine. Um,
our image was there.
yeah, we were, and I was going to say we're in Betty's crotch. We were in Betty's
We
crotch, so
were.
it's
We
fine.
were. I hope she's watching this.
Me too. Um, so yeah, I think the styles are massively different. It's so interesting to see.
Mm,
I think going to any festival is interesting because you get to see people's different creative ideas.
hmm.
Um, and that's so much fun. And I think you can also, with America, you get a lot more people doing acts that are based on like their heritage as well.
Mm, definitely.
Yeah, so like that's really interesting because I don't feel like we have that much of a strong association with our heritage. Well, I mean, most of us are very white, right? But even
Yeah.
then, like, there's not as strong a connection with any sort of heritage from that. I tend to see a lot more of that in the States and
Mm,
Canada a little bit as well. Um, so yeah, I feel like there's definitely differences. I also don't know if sometimes I do feel like the standard in general is higher in the States, but I don't know if that's because I've been exposed only to performances in the States at festivals, which
mm,
you would hope would be the best of the people applying. So therefore, it's maybe not a
yeah.
true representation.
I guess maybe it depends on the festivals as well, because I guess the ones that we would see are maybe the bigger ones.
Yeah,
Because like I've done 2 festivals in the States, and it was Hollywood and Teaser, both of which were like the standard was insane, but that's kind of what I expected.
yeah.
Whereas in Europe, I've done everything from like so Zurich, which was a really high standard, to something that's a bit more of a mixed bag. There's been a couple that are more open to newcomers, stuff that I did
Hmm.
early in my career where yeah, there are headliners and then there are people that are quite new. So the standard is going to be a lot more mixed, whereas yeah, certainly at least the ones that I did in the States, it was very professional standard.
Yeah, yeah. I think weirdly the biggest difference that I see from my experiences has actually been the way that Americans do festivals is just better.
I agree.
And I don't necessarily mean as in the standard, I just mean the way that they shape the whole weekend.
Mm,
Like, having like a mixer or something to hang out with. There's like a Friday show. There's usually some so there's usually like workshops and stuff, which I know a lot of European festivals do as well, so I'm not saying that. And then there's after parties. There's always after parties. I never make it to them 'cause I'm always jet lagged to hell, but I
Yeah.
like that they're there. There's usually like a Sunday brunch or like to round off the weekend. Like there's something. There just feels like there's a lot more opportunities to network outside of being backstage with people. Whereas
Yeah.
European festivals, and I actually say Alps were very good at this. There was more opportunities at Alps, I feel. Um, I can't speak for other festivals. I'm just speaking for the ones I've been to, obviously, but I feel like the American festivals are very, very good
Mm.
at making it a whole experience. And also recommending things for you to do in that area. Like, oh, you can go here
Yeah.
and you can do this and you can do this. And like Ohio, you tend to get discounts at local attractions with your pass
Mm.
as well, which is pretty
Nice.
cool. So yeah, I feel like that's something that just talking about festivals, they tend to do a lot better.
Yeah. Teaser was a lot like that. Like Elle, very much as it's a burlesque festival, she also wants it to be like a showcase of New Orleans. So
Hmm.
like the venues that she picks and the sponsors and kind of like the stuff that happens around the shows is all very geared to like come and see and experience New Orleans. You know, and they have a locals show as well as the competition and all that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool to have a
Yeah,
locals only. It's literally like this is our burlesque, and then also bringing in other people. Malta did it very well as well, actually. I really hope it
nice.
happens this year. And one of the things was that everything was in the same place. Um,
Ah,
and they had a pool party. It felt like very like little beehive. But yeah, you know, there was the shows, there was workshops. It was all quite self-contained, but also very, very close to like walkable into Valletta, the capital city.
oh,
So it felt
nice.
like you could go explore and see some things as well. But everybody was together, so it felt much more community based.
Yeah, that's
Hull as well did that really well, which I get is what they were going for because Tawny and Roxy went to Beehoff and went to America and we're like, oh, they do it really well over here.
they do it so
How
well.
I
And
bring
I
that
will say
home.
my experience in Canada, Kootenay,
Mm,
um, me and Fanny Sinclair basically were like, this is like stripper summer camp. Like, and that's because Kootenay, if you, for anyone, it was Nelson. If you look up Nelson, BC, it's beautiful. It's a main street,
mhm,
houses, hills, and a lake. That's it. All right. So they go out their way, like there's Thursday night drinks. And then I think Friday afternoon was we had Judith Stein, because she lives there, so she done
yeah.
a talk. And then there was you obviously then had like tech or whatever for the show. Um, there was classes on the Saturday afternoon. There was they gave you recommendations of place to get coffee. All their sponsors were local sponsors. There was
Mm,
an after party both the Friday night and the Saturday night at a local bar, which was the same bar we'd had mixers and drinks and stuff in. And then the Sunday we had a picnic down at the beach, where they supplied pizza and everything for us. And then the Sunday night was like a karaoke night. So
mm,
like they knew there's not a lot to do. So they were like, here's things for you to. Um, so you were just hanging out all weekend and like
yeah.
you really got to network and get to know people in a way
Mm.
that I don't think you do at quite a lot of other
I guess if you're in a
festivals.
city, people go off and do their own thing, don't they? Or it's just a case of shows done.
Yeah, pretty much. Whereas no one was traveling that far
Mm,
to just do their show and leave because even people that were driving in, you still had to like drive to get back to where you were going. Like no one was just
yeah.
taking a hop, skip, and a jump.
No. You're enforced to do the whole thing and participate fully.
Great though. Highly, highly recommend that festival if anyone's looking
That's
for a Canadian one.
definitely one I'm going to be keeping an eye out for.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, segueing on from that, what tips do you have for people wanting to do more festivals? Because I'm aware we could talk forever about the favorite festivals that we've done. Um, I get asked this question a lot. I don't know about you. People being like, "How did you make this happen? How did you get in?" Yeah, what would you advise people in terms of like the application process and things like that, and then also like the practicalities of doing the festivals? There are things that you're like, this works really well, stuff that you maybe wouldn't do again.
Yeah. I wouldn't book the Airbnb I booked in Nelson again, up a fucking hill every time I wanted to go home. Um, got my
We
steps
did
in.
that in Hebden Bridge. It was beautiful. It was an absolutely gorgeous house, but up a very steep hill.
Oh, the pictures I got are stunning of like the mountains and the lake, but every
Mm.
single night I had to do a 15-minute walk uphill. I've never been so unfit in my life. I was like, Jesus, I hate myself. Um, okay, so I always say this is a numbers game. I keep a list in my phone of every festival I applied to and what act I applied to with, like, what act I applied with, sorry. And then as I get a notification in, I'll put a cross or a tick next to it so I know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Um, look at what's been there previously, look at their Instagram, look at what they've booked before. Are they primarily a classic? Are they primarily like weird shit? Do they like nerdy stuff? Do they like pop culture stuff? Like what do they go for?
Mhm.
Um if you know people that have been to them, ask like as well, not just in terms of what kind of vibe is there, but also what was it like? What was is it a good festival? Is it worth going? All those kind of good
So
conversations.
important.
So important because there's some that are totally worth your money and there's some that aren't. Let's be entirely honest.
Yeah.
If it's your first international festival though, fucking take it. Like there's maybe only one or two that I would say don't. Ibiza. Um
I will say, slide in my DMs and ask.
yeah. Yeah.
But also I pay for
But also Ibiza. But also slide into my DMs and ask. Um there's yeah. So look at what's been there previously. Think about do you have an act that would fit that? Especially if they charge, don't apply if you think this isn't going to get in. Like there's no
Mhm.
point. It's a waste of your money, it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of their time. Don't be like, oh, this is my best act. I'm just going to apply to everything with it. That's not going to get
Mhm.
you anywhere. Target your applications. Juna Bay gave an amazing rec tip on their stories one day, which was they put the festivals they want to apply to in their favourites on Instagram so that they always see when they post, so they know that when
Mm.
applications open and stuff, which I think was really helpful.
That's a really good
Um,
idea.
yeah, if you get rejected, ask for feedback. You won't always get it,
Mm.
but there's nothing wrong with asking. Just because you didn't get in one year doesn't mean you can't apply with the same act the following year. But also, again, look at what got in. Is your act
Mhm.
likely to get in? Do you have an updated video? Because there's no point applying with the same video because chances are your act, we've just talked about your act changes, it
Mhm.
evolves, all those kind of good stuff. Yeah, I think also understanding self shameless self promotion here, but I have Aya, you have frozen.
I've frozen.
Oh, there we go. You're back.
Was I just sitting very still?
Maybe. I was like, I am not this interesting. Um,
I mean, you were still moving and chatting away, so
right,
who
okay.
knows?
It was maybe just me. So shameless self promotion. I was saying I've done episodes on something called the culture map, which I think is
Hmm.
interesting because understanding the culture of the place that you're going to will let you understand your expectations. So I've done shows in Italy. Italian festivals hurt me because they do not run on time.
No, no.
But that is very normal in Italy if you look at like
Hmm.
there's a whole thing behind it that I could talk about forever because I find it interesting because my background's in sociology. Um but understand what you're walking into essentially.
Yeah.
Have a fair understanding. I think that also helps. Around the practicalities of it, again, I've got like a travel tips post on YouTube, and I will be doing one on Instagram at some point. But there's various things that you can do around like Airbnb, hotels. looking for flights using Skyscanner, sharing with friends, how you can do it cheap, how you can keep your food costs down, all that kind of stuff. There's definitely festivals I've done that I have no interest in doing again. There's other festivals I'm like, yeah, I would do that. It was a lot of fun. Um, yeah, I think there's some that are more one and done, and then there's others that I'm like, absolutely never, which is a different story. Um, but to be honest, like I don't know how you feel about this. I have felt that once I got one, it was easier to get
Mm,
more.
definitely. And I think one of the things is certainly just looking at my own press pack that I send out, a lot of my best videos are from festivals because they nearly always have photographers, videographers. Sometimes you have to pay for it, which thoughts. But, you know, if you manage to get an act into a festival, and that's the thing that I look at for whether I'm going to apply or not, as well as looking
Mhm.
at their social medias, their YouTube, if they're on there. Um, Looking at the staging and the quality of the video, and it's like, what act do I want to get on that stage to get that video? And people say the quality of the video doesn't matter, and it doesn't, in the sense that, like, if your act is good, your act is good as long as it's a clear video and they can see it. That's great. However, if it comes down to two very good acts and one of them has a professional video on good staging, like, it just helps immerse the viewer in the act more
Yeah,
than a
the
phone video or whatever. Like, it does make it easier to get booked for other things.
good lighting, good staging. If they can picture your act on their stage, and that's so much harder to
Exactly.
do if you're performing on like the riding room stage that's a corner. Um, love that stage, fucking tiny.
Yeah.
Like I definitely feel like having one festival behind me made it easier to get more.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like the two acts that have got me all of my festivals have been Pleasantville and Calypso.
Yeah.
They're the two acts that everyone books. It's the two acts I'm doing the rest of this year as well. Um, but I think it's Calypso was made for a big stage, so it works. Um, Pleasantville works on kind of any stage, but people like it because it's funny. So I think you have to think about that as well. Like if you're making an act, is this act for a big stage or not? Because when I made Calypso, I knew fine well there's not a lot of stages I can perform that in Glasgow.
Yeah.
Um, but I
But
made that
festivals love
choice.
it.
But festivals fucking love it because it
Yeah.
looks good. Um, so yeah, I think festivals are so hard. It's a hit or miss. It's understanding what do you want to go. Don't target ones that don't want you. Is essentially
Yeah.
it. Like I've done that in the past. I've applied to everything, being like, oh well, maybe they'll take this, and it's like, no, be strategic about it because you're also
Yeah.
spending money. And then if you do get in, are you willing to invest in going?
hmm
Um. Oh, so do you want to go to that place? That's a fun
Yeah.
one as well. Like, would you go there otherwise? Probably not. But is it going to be a cool experience? Depends where it is, probably. Um,
That's definitely been a factor for me. There's been a lot of places that, I've wanted to go because I haven't been there before, or because I have been and I loved it. Like Hollywood and Malta, two of my favorite places on the planet.
Hmm.
So I was like, go do burlesque in LA. Yes. Go do burlesque
Well,
in Malta. Excuse to go to Malta. Absolutely.
yeah, you're like, okay, I'll go.
I'll go.
Um, yeah, I'm doing Montreal. I've never been to Montreal. Want to
Mm,
go though. But also, I think there's places I would have never went. I'd have never went to Cleveland. Had a great time.
yeah.
I'd have probably never went to Denver. Fucking love Denver. We'd go back in a heartbeat. But
Yeah.
like, so it's interesting the places it can take you, and again, the people
Mm,
you meet. Um, there's so many benefits to doing festivals, and I do think having done festivals has made me a better performer. Um, but yeah, it's a large part of it's a numbers game as well.
yeah. I think people and social media can completely hide this, can't it? I get people asking me all the time. They're like, you do so many things. Oh my God, I keep getting rejected from things. And I'm like, but you only see the things that I get accepted for because I don't post every single thing that I apply to and either get rejected or don't ever hear back.
Yeah. Like, hold on. I've got you can see the list just in terms of how many is on it for this year alone.
Part of me is like, I should do a list like you, but also part of me is like, my mental health can't take it.
I do it because see if I get accepted and they don't state what the act was and I can't fucking remember
Mm,
what act I
yeah.
applied with.
What did I apply?
Yeah. But
Sorry.
like that's
Yeah.
everything I've applied for this year. And as you can see, I get into one, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah.
I think this is important to talk about, and it's important to be real about it, especially when, I don't know about your specific audience, but I have a lot of newer performers following me, as well as, those that are kind of more a similar age to me. But yeah, it can seem like, oh, you're booked all the time and da 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 da. And it's like, no. And especially not in terms of compared to the amount of things that we apply for.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
about 80% of it is rejection, and that's just the way it is.
Up
It
until
doesn't,
very recently, I think I would have been like, yeah, I've performed more outside the country than I have inside the
same.
it's evened out. It's evened out. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, last year was bad for that actually, because I done
Mm,
I did 7 festivals in total last year, which is too many, by the way. But I did 7 festivals in total, and because of that, people were like, "Oh my God, you're so busy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm getting no local work.
yeah,
No
same.
one like because everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're so busy," and I'm like, "I'm here the rest of the time. I'm away one
Yeah.
weekend. I'm here the rest of the time. Well travel like." There can be this perception of, oh my God, you're so successful, you're so busy. And it's like, yeah, but I still want to work as
Yeah.
well. Like here.
Have you had that from producers? Because I've definitely had that before, where people have either I've reached out to them or they've been speaking to me and then they've been like, oh yeah, I would have asked you for that, but I assumed you're busy because you're always busy. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, they're like, oh, I didn't ask you for the last date because I assumed you'd be booked. And I'm like, well, I wasn't.
Yep.
Or they'll ask me for one specific date and I'll be like, I am booked on that date, but I'd love to do another one. And they'll be like, oh, I assumed you would be. And I'm like,
And you're
no, no,
like,
you just happen to be on the one date in maybe a month that I'm booked because I don't know, someone asked me for like Halloween weekend. And I was like, I am already booked, but that's only because somebody had already happened to advance book me.
yeah,
That didn't happen last year.
yeah. Like I
And they're like,
have, what have I got? I've got a writing room gig in September, a hosting gig in September, teaching in September, got a workshop day, Montreal in October,
mm,
Gdansk in November, and then a gig in Glasgow at the start of December. And that's my bookings for the rest of the year.
yeah. I'm like weirdly busy in September and then have like a couple of things in October and like a couple in November, but they're mostly clandestine.
Yeah.
Some my own stuff
Yeah.
that I don't often get paid for. Um,
That's the thing. Like it's not act like I look busy, but it's there's actually not that much. Like I
yeah,
have time. Like I have weekends. And well, it's nice. I get to actually like see my friends and do stuff and hang out with my partner and hang out with my cats and do housework and all that kind of boring stuff. But yeah, people do make the assumption that like, oh, you're so busy. And I'm like, I'm
hmm
not really. I apply to a lot of things and I don't get in and that's fine. That's part of what we do.
yeah.
But you have to understand that I also get a fuck ton of rejection emails as well.
Can relate. I feel like we're in the sticky middle
hmm
where
hmm
like, yeah, we're not doing student showcases and, we can't be doing all the scratch nights or whatever. We're kind of past that. Not that you're ever past doing scratch nights, but you know what I mean. They're not like the majority of our gigs when you're just
Yep.
trying to get stage time. But we're
hmm
also trying to push standards and things. For example, being like, you need to pay my fee for my established acts that are well rehearsed and have been on X, Y, and Z stages.
Yep.
But then also, we're not at the point, I'm not a Betsy Rose or Julie Papillon that are constantly booked,
Yeah.
and are full timers.
I think one of the things that kicks us in the teeth is you're in London, I'm in Scotland, as we know.
Mm.
The Midland seems to be where everything is right now, which is fucking great. Love that for them. Love it for
Hmm.
them. Seems to be loads of work. They will probably tell us no, there's not. Again, it just looks like it on social media. But it looks like it from the
Yeah.
external. And a lot of the castings I see are for that kind of area.
Hmm.
A lot of them won't pay travel.
Yeah.
So I'm fucked.
Which is understandable as well, because ain't
Yeah,
nobody's got the budget. We're the
yeah,
same, we're like, if you happen to be in London and you're not from here, we'd love to book you. We can't fly someone over. We can't,
yeah.
ask
Because
someone to
it's
come down just specifically and pay for their travel. We just
it's
can't.
too much. And I
Yeah.
totally understand that, but it does mean that like you can't get those gigs. It's like
Hmm.
and instead I'm fucking spending 200 quid to fight in another country. Or in the case of Montreal, I got flights to Montreal for 500, which I thought was not bad.
That's very good. That feels very good.
The flight out's stupid though. I'm flying to Amsterdam, then to Paris, and then from Paris to
Lord,
Montreal.
good luck to you.
Can all watch that journey on fucking my stories when I'm like, flight number 3.
See, flights for me very much depend on whether my husband comes with me, because he is 6'5". He does not fit comfortably for a long haul flight
Mm.
in, a standard seat. We have to get the extra leg room. So we have to pay more money. So like when I did Hollywood, he came with me and we made it a holiday. Had to pay a lot more money for those flights than say New Orleans where I went by myself.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
Stockholm where he just went, it's a 2 hour flight. I'll just sit in a random seat. That's fine. Not for 10 hours to California.
It's too much. Even just doing that
Yeah.
in general, like, yeah. Montreal, I've fucked myself for Montreal though, because I land on the Thursday at 3 o'clock,
Mm.
and then there's a mixer dinner at 6:30.
I can beat that. When I went to New Orleans, I landed at 6, arrived at the hotel at 7, and that was the first show kicking off. Literally, I was off the plane, had a carry on only. I was the first person off through security into a taxi to the hotel, changed clothes, and then was like, I'm here. Stupid, don't do it.
Oh yeah, don't do what I'm doing. I
Don't do
always say
this,
this,
don't do
like,
this.
this is the other thing. I'll go, and you did this. I'll go to America for a weekend.
Yeah,
That is not a financially responsible decision.
it's
It is
very
not a
silly.
health focused decision. I have shown on my stories I use help to sleep to get me over the jet lag when I am in these states
Mhm.
because it is legal in the states that I tend to go to. Um, it's not good. It fucks you up for a good few days,
Oh
but
yeah,
I'm not going to say no to these opportunities. That's the choice that I make. Do I recommend others copy me? No. No.
I guess it's ultimately what are your goals, isn't it? And I would love to say top of my list was, getting enough sleep and having a healthy work-life balance. It's definitely goals that I have. But when it comes down to, do you want to fly to New Orleans for 4 days and do this incredible festival where like the entire headliner list was like all my favorites in one festival? I'm sorry, but that trumps getting a good night's sleep.
Oh yeah.
And these
A
are
hundred
just the choices you make.
100%. I was saying to Alan, obviously Betty Bombshell's doing the Melbourne tease next year, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, want to go to Australia for a weekend? He's like, you can't go to Australia for a weekend. I was like, I
I did think
can.
about it. I did
If
think about
I was like, I
it.
could. It's not the smartest idea I've ever had, but I could.
Literally the thought process I had. Every time their posts come up, I'm like, could I? But, arachnophobia keeps me out of Australia.
I will apply. I probably won't get in, but I will apply. And then if I do get in, I'll do what I do absolutely every other fucking festival I get into where I panic and
Mm.
then make it work.
I would love to. I would love to, but that is my barrier to Australia. And I
No,
know a lot of
that's
Australians are probably going to be like, you're fucking ridiculous.
no,
But
but they're like this
they're
size.
no, like it's not okay.
Yeah, I'm with
So
you on that
yeah,
one.
that is a continent I shall not bring my art to unless armed with a flamethrower. That's a good question, actually. Do you have any what's like next on your list or what's on your bucket list? What are some like goal festivals or shows or locations? Where do you want to perform?
Everyone wants to perform at Beehoff, that's the standard. We'll
Hmm.
just get that one right out of the way. Um, I want to go back to, and this will have to be after the world stops being on fire. I'd like to go back to Mile High and take Baby Bell because that's where the idea for Baby Bell came from. So I would like to take
Yeah,
it back, and compete in the competition that would be part of. I would love to do that.
that'd be sick.
Um, I think that would be really cool. I'd like to do teaser again. I'm not applying this year because
There.
I don't want to go to America. Um, I quite like to do. Apparently, Vancouver's a really good festival. I think I'd
Mm,
quite like to do Vancouver. Um, I'd like to do Australia. I'd love to see the Japan one.
mm.
I fucking love Japan. I was in Japan at the exact same time that the festival was on last year, but the dates didn't work out for it. We were going to go
Uh,
one night, but when we were in Osaka, because it was outside of Osaka, the
hmm.
nights we were in Osaka, it didn't work out. Um,
I'd love
so I'd
to go to
like to do.
Japan.
I fucking love Japan. I just want to go back. I'm obsessed with it. I'd do Japan. I'd like to do Australia at some point. Again, teaser because it's New Orleans and I loved New Orleans this year.
It's also a great festival.
Yeah,
Just the shows were all phenomenal.
amazing. Yeah, I
Amazing,
want to go back
amazing.
to Mile High, Beehoff. Those are probably the main ones.
Hmm.
But a lot of those are. There's also there's loads of European ones. Like I want to do Dutch. I want to do
Mm,
Stockholm. I'd love to do Zurich. Or if you've not just Zurich Festival, Ola Lala Shiri, the show.
yeah,
Um,
it's yeah. Emma's a sweetheart,
yeah,
and
I'd love to do
you're
that.
very well looked after at that one.
I quite like to do the is it the tip? I'm thinking of the Tipsy Bear. Is it the Berlin Saloon, the show that Felicity Felicius runs?
Oh, Sinner Saloon.
Sinner Saloon, that's it,
Yeah,
in Berlin.
yeah, yeah. I'd
I'd
love
quite
to
like
do
to do
that.
that. That looks like a fun show.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think if there's any other shows that really jump out. Those are probably the main ones that I'm like, these are ones that I would like to eventually be able to go and do.
Yeah.
Your show, one day, one day. Um, yeah, I think that's probably Hebden.
Mm,
I think that would be fun, just because it's
yeah.
kind of our version of Beehoff.
It is, isn't it? It's kind of the biggest one that we have.
Um,
I love Hepton.
so yeah, it's a long fucking list, but I kind of always need to have something to work towards.
Yeah.
So, like this year, I was like, the start of the year, I was like, I'm going to go to Canada, do it twice. I actually got accepted into three, and I've had to drop out of one. Um,
A nice problem to have.
I know, so I can't go to Canada 3 months in a row. Um, so yeah, I think next year I'll set whatever goal it is, and then I'll just try and make it happen. Like how I did it with
Yeah.
Canada this year, is I just looked up every single Canadian festival and I applied to every single one. With
That is a
eyeliner,
much more sensible approach than mine when I did Hollywood and teaser. I literally I'd already applied to Hollywood because that's
yeah.
like the one. We spoke about this when we did my interview. And then the headliners got announced for teaser, and it was like Raquel Reed, Medianoche, Frankie Fictitious. Like it was ridiculous.
Hmm.
So on the last day, I literally went, fuck it. I think like an hour before it closed. And then I remember, I think it was Faye being like, what are you going to do if you get accepted into both of them? I was like, I'm not going to, but we'll just deal with it. And then literally got the two emails within a week and was like, guess I'm going like 6 weeks apart or whatever it was.
Yep.
And had just quit my job and gone self employed. which is why I only went for the 4 days for teaser because I had no money.
Oh yeah, I was the same. I did 4 American festivals last year, and it was Oklahoma City
Yeah.
to the start of the year, and then it was the North Shore. Went back home 2 weeks later, flew back out for Denver, and then thankfully Ohio wasn't till August. But
Mm.
and I kind of did it this year. I went to Beehoff, was home for 13 days, and then flew to Kootenai. Again, this is
Great
not.
planning.
These are not smart decisions.
These are not recommendations. This is just what happened.
So not recommendations. This is just why life looks so busy because
Yeah.
sometimes it is, and then other times it's very quiet.
Hmm.
Um, and that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I think the way I do it, if you're going to set yourself a goal like that, like you want to do a country, just go and look up every single festival. And also, what I was going to say is the handy thing about me having what I consider two festival ready acts is
Hmm.
one of them's funny, it's comedy, it's silly. One of them's more kind of serious, neoclassic energy, very pretty costume, big silks. I kind of have an act that I can, depending on the vibe of the festival, I'm like, this act will work for this festival.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good tip is to have two that are different vibes that
Hmm.
you can kind of target with for festivals as well.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I always find it hard where, some festivals you can apply multiple times, or you can apply, they might allow you to do two or
Mhm.
three in the one application. Some of them it is literally one and done. So hard,
So
especially when
hard.
it's the
That's
type
why
of
I'm like, I
festival
have
that
this,
maybe does take a variety.
yeah, because you're like, what one do you put in?
Yeah.
I think that's why I have those two. Those are like the two that I go to if I'm going to apply for something. I'm like, it's going to be one of these. And then if there's an option to add a second act, I'll like pick a different act.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm like, this is the one with the most chance, and then I'll like throw in a curveball.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to get more acts to festivals, but at the moment, I think Baby Bell will go to festivals at some point.
I feel like, yeah, it's that kind of act, isn't it? And it's not the sort of thing that there's not going to be a lot that's directly competing with it because it's such a specific theme.
So niche.
Yeah.
But the costume is such a way that it's not niche.
Yeah.
So I feel like it'll
It's a very palatable
probably be
costume, isn't
another
it?
one.
Literally palatable.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you got me
Hooray.
back on to
Well,
do
it's the problem
this.
with Pleasant. I know. You're like, well, it's Pleasantville. The one thing I think that draws me back with Pleasantville is I throw a dildo around on stage, and some folk are like, absolutely not.
No. A dildo in burlesque? What? Shocking. I'm aware we've been yapping for a hugely long amount of time, but there was what I wanted to bring it back. I meant to ask this earlier, and then we went.
Okay, go for it.
Um, you've been performing for sort of 6, 7 years. You had a couple of years in the before times, and then AC after COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm going to try and lump these questions in together. So,
Okay.
what has been the biggest change you've seen in that time across your career, both personally and kind of in the scene? And what do you think is what is one of the best changes, and what's one of the biggest challenges that has come up?
Ooh, ooh,
That's a real stack
ooh.
question,
It's
I'm
like,
aware.
I know. I know I asked these people these questions, and now I'm like, oh, fuck me, getting asked them. It's hard. Um, you can also tell we've been on for a while because this room's getting darker and darker as the sun's going
Yeah,
down. Um, okay, so yeah, I've been doing this coming up in 7 years. Biggest change before COVID, there was more shows.
yeah.
100%. Like locally, there was more
Mhm.
shows. However, I think I was more insulated. Unfortunately, I was discouraged from applying to shows outside of my local area, including like international shows. So I didn't have the opportunities that I love that so many people now get where a lot of festivals take on newbies and stuff. Like I aged out of that during COVID, but
Yeah,
also partly because I wasn't encouraged to do it in that first year and a half. I was sort of actively discouraged. So I've definitely got out of my that bubble. I'm much less insulated now, which is great because I do think being exposed to so much more has made me a better performer.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of the industry, again, I think we've always been a bit infighty. I even
Yeah.
remember it back then, like sort of being aware that there was like stuff, like groups online and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, it would have been before your time, but there was a previous burlesque channel similar to the United Burlesque Kingdom that fucking imploded.
Was this the
And
brother sister thing? I think I caught the tail end of that.
that imploded. I just kind of watched on the sidelines, like fuck me.
Yeah.
Um, so you know, I've talked about this to a couple of people on these kind of things. I do think that we are on the verge of doing more of that now because there's less work. We're
Hmm.
tearing each other down. We're having to go at each other. What I talked about earlier about there's an element of do I share my opinion online because I'm going to get fucking
Mm.
attacked for it? Are people just going to take that as face value if that's who I am? There's always someone out there. I think one of the biggest learnings actually from a personal perspective has been not everyone's going to like you. That's okay. Even
Mm.
if you're going out and being the nicest person you can possibly be, people will make judgments on you from what you present online and they will make a decision about you, or someone else will have taken a disliking to you and will have told them, oh, this person's this, that, and the next thing. So they're coming in with that preconceived idea about you.
Yeah.
You can't control that. All you can do is go in and just be yourself and potentially disprove that previous opinion. Or
Mm.
sometimes you can't change people's opinions and they will only look at your actions through that lens. And
Hmm.
you can't control that. But we are so varied. There's so many people from so many different backgrounds, from so many different perspectives that you're not gonna like and get on with everyone. Um, that's okay.
You
There's
could be
people that are
the
gonna rub you up the wrong way.
ripest, juiciest peach, and there'll always be someone that hates peaches.
I do it as well. Like I'm not
Yeah.
sitting here being
Well,
like,
it's
oh, I
human.
don't judge anyone for what they say online. Of course I fucking
We
do.
never judge anyone.
Never. Um, we all do it. We all make snap decisions and we all think, fucking hell, who are they? But it's how you then present when you're with those people. Are you professional?
Yeah.
Are you kind? Do you go out your way to stop them getting work? Because you have to ask why the fuck are you doing that? Um,
Yeah.
I think in
Don't do
terms of
that.
yeah, like just don't do that. It's just mean. And I think you've kind of did you ask what else needs to change? Did I make that up?
What's one of the
What was
biggest
the worst and what was the
challenges? Yeah.
best?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I think the best thing for me personally has been access to learning online.
Mm,
And I think
for
COVID
sure.
brought that about.
Definitely.
Um, that has opened so many doors for me. I've had so many opportunities. We've talked in this about how I'm learning from Pearl and Ivory just now. I've had chats with Ginger. Yeah, I've done interviews on this with Betty. I
Hmm.
have um I did one-to-one feedback with Lolo way back when, Lolo
Yeah.
Brow. Like the option of online Christ, our online development with Betty, like the
Yeah.
option of online learning, I think has opened so many doors for so many people, and it gets you out of the trap of being attached to whatever that local learning style is, because all that's going to happen is you're going to turn out the same style and the same people because you're only learning from the same person.
Yeah.
Um,
You hear a lot of that, don't you? Like, oh, I'm in a really small town. We don't really have classes. What can I do? And it used to be like, yeah, you're a bit stuffed. Whereas now it's like,
Mhm.
you can learn from literally the best on the planet because they
Exactly, and I
put it
think
out there.
that's a great thing. The worst, and yeah, the worst thing is just are, as I said, are quick to judge each other online and stuff, but we all do it. It's just more to
Yeah.
sometimes check yourself. Yeah, I think that's
Very,
probably
very
it.
well put. Very well put. And last of all, where can our listeners and our watchers find you online?
Oh my God, right here on
Here,
this
right
YouTube
here.
channel. Imagine
Subscribe.
that. Right here, right now. Um, Dinah_Dare on Instagram, on TikTok, but I never fucking post on TikTok. So there's no point. On YouTube, which is all here. There's also Dinah Dares to YouTube, which is an Instagram where it's always posts from these interviews. Um, I have a website, www.dinadare.com. I think that's it. Yeah, and as I've
A
said
few
before,
places.
a few different places. I've said before, I'll say it again. My DMs are genuinely always open. If anyone ever wants to chat about it and they want to vibe check something, they want to ask about the cost of things or whatever. Like I try and be very open and honest with this stuff. I will give you options if people are asking for like recommendations for things. I'll be like, oh, there's this, or this. I always try and do it from a non-judgmental space unless I have had a poor delivery of service from that person. If I just don't like that person, I'm still going to recommend them to you if they've given me a good service. But if I've not had a good
Mhm.
service, I'm not going to recommend them to you. So just so if anyone does come to me and ask, the people I'm going to always give to you, they're not always necessarily my best friends, but they're people that I think are good at what they do.
Yeah, they're safe and quality.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's important. Yeah.
Well, it has been wonderful chatting with you. The tables have turned. This has been very fun for me being on the other side of things. And yeah, if you're not already, like and subscribe. And Dinah will see you on the next one.
And that's Aya's exit. No, thank you so much, my lovely, for doing this. It's been nearly 2 hours. I can't wait to edit this. Right, I'm gonna go to edit now. Right, bye.
Bye.